Welcome to the Redvee TV preview show, supported by A-Star Recruitment for the 2020 season, as we look ahead to Saints' round 7 clash against Castleford Tigers.
Don't know what one out, are we?
I think all these rounds are going to end up way out the way things are going. How was your self-isolation?
I was out last night. Got asked if we were doing a preview show, and I tweeted Aaron Carter, who's one of our southern-based fans. He just asking, and I said, "Oh, I'm out." And then we got a response off someone saying, "No, that should be worth a watch." But I don't get hangovers, so nice and easy.
Before we go into anything, coronavirus. Football's cancelled. A lot of other sports are cancelled. Rugby league is ploughing on ahead on government advice. Even though we know next week it looks like everything's going to be called off.
Yeah.
Maybe coronavirus doesn't take effect until at least Monday morning.
Yeah, just to get this round of fixtures out.
Yeah. Should it be getting played?
Probably not. That's it. I mean, the RFL are going on the government advice.
Is that an easy thing to hide behind? Maybe.
Yeah, possibly. You just obviously it's one of them that's some of it is subjective and some of it is scientific, but the rest of Europe have started shutting everything down. I just don't get how, and I know footballers have tested positive, but I don't get how the whole football league can shut down. The main rugby league hasn't yet. And
then you see the clubs giving the advice out to fans. There'll be no shaking hands with fans. There'll be no pictures with them. There'll be no mascots at some of the games. But if you're on the terrace, stood next to 3,500 other people, you'll be fine.
Listen, it's a weird one because it's not about like you really, and I don't mean that in a sense.
Listen, I expect a lot of people. I'm not going to go into that too much, but I think a lot of people in this country will get it. For the likes of me and you, who are essentially fit and healthy despite our guts, we'll probably see it as a bit of a cold, mild cold, bit of flu. It's for the more vulnerable people in society that we need to be protected.
And those who are going to come into contact with the most vulnerable as well. I was just reading something on Twitter that it's about the people who might be going looking after the grandma, or the going working with, I don't know, like patients in hospital, and they might end up getting it and passing it on without knowing. It's too late once the symptoms come round that they've already been in contact. They could have passed it on already.
For me, playing these round of fixtures just seems an unnecessary issue. I think they should just sort the moral high ground and cancelled. But then I can see the flip side of it. Finances are a massive issue in rugby league. Yeah. Are we going to be able to afford a long shutdown if that's what happens?
Listen, this is probably where you say, are some rugby clubs, I don't know, is naive the right word? Run well, is that another one? That this is like a once in a generation thing. You'd almost think where you're shutting down leagues.
Is the phrase hand to mouth? Do you literally live that way month to month? Yeah. I think they say for most of the general population in this country, everybody's a paycheck away from poverty.
You're one or two away, aren't you?
It feels like a lot of rugby league clubs are in exactly the same situation, but for me, the longer term aspect needs to be looked at. It's not going to look good for rugby league if, there's a super spreader amongst the crowd.
Yeah. And you get like 5,000, 6,000, or however many turn up tomorrow. Us being two of them.
I was going to say, despite all the risks and the doom and gloom, are we going, Kev?
Yeah. We took it 4 weeks ago.
I seen a video on the internet of a fella who made a massive disc, like a 3 metre circumference. There's a word for it today. And plunked himself in the middle of it so nobody could come within 3 metres. It's a large terrace at Cass. I'm not expecting us to take a lot, especially now that's on the telly. I think people will swerve it. So just give everybody a bit of space. I think maybe is the case, and just take it a little bit serious. I know that I've seen players joking about it after games, doing the little arm things and laughing about it. I've seen the NBA player who did an interview in front of the media and then went right on all the mics.
And he ended up with it, didn't
And he had it.
He had it. So,
so yeah, it does need to be taken seriously.
There's loads of videos. There's one of Prince Charles going to meet someone. He gets out of a car, puts his arm out, and then goes, oh, and you can see even he's like, oh. Then he goes and meets dignitaries. 10 seconds later, goes to do the same.
And do you know what? It sounds awful. These videos end up as being a bit of a social history, don't they?
Yeah.
In 6 months' time, you might be looking back at this going, "Them lads were laughing about it. They didn't make it." Nobody knows what's going to happen. I think we're only at the start of it. So yeah, if you can take precautions, hand wash your hands. I think that's what everybody needs to do first and foremost. Buy tissues, take tissues, cough into them. Don't splutter over people. I think coughing over people is not coughing over people is more important now than throwing your ale over them.
Oh, is that back?
It's back. It's Wigan away. It's Wigan away. Honest, Wigan at home. Good Friday will be alright.
Is it?
Anyway, team news.
Is it?
I don't know. Oh, that'll be off.
Oh, that'll be off as well.
No!
The devastation in your eyes when you realise that Good Friday could be off.
Well, technically, only the game's off.
Yeah.
Could be off.
As long as they've not shut pubs.
We used to say the game was to get in the way on Good Friday.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, Weatherspoons, if it's off on Good Friday, we'll be there at 8 o'clock anyway. Right, team news.
One change, Josh Sim drops out. Aaron Smith, after his suspension, comes back in. Not really a surprise. No. I think we kind of missed Aaron Smith last week. Just something different from dummy half. And obviously we keep saying that James Rolby, while he is a great player, probably does need that rest at the minute. He's still coming back from injury.
I think we've now definitely moved into the phase for me of needing 2 hookers in the squad.
Yeah.
Lachlan Coote will come back in.
Yeah, you'd imagine so. It's been said that he's got a very, very good chance of playing, and then that leaves again the left centre position.
I think it's Jack Wellesby.
Yeah,
all day. For me, the fact that Matt Costello didn't get played there last week and we chose to go with Morgan Knowles there above Costello tells me, for me, he's dropped down the pecking order.
Yeah.
And I don't think Jack Wellesby's done enough to be left out. I know he didn't have the greatest games last week, but did anyone in that squad?
No, not really.
And I think he'll be given a chance at left centre. Hopefully, James Bentley. Good news on James Bentley. He'll be back in 3 weeks. He probably won't have a game to play in, but I tell you what,
Percy might be back.
A little bad injuries clear up. Just as long as we don't do what the Premier League's going to do and make it null and void.
You're clinging on to that, like
clinging on to hope. 25 points clear.
I don't mind.
Null and void.
We're safe in the league. We're all right.
We're in mid-table, mediocrity.
Yeah.
We're fine.
Both of our teams are.
Scratch it, start again next year.
We're still above you. Anyway, this is rugby. I think we are. Put that in your social history.
Yeah. Castleford anyway. Liam Watts returns. He was a loss for them last week in that defeat at Warrington. He replaces Ollie Holmes in that squad. Great player,
Liam Watts. Probably he was at Hull, wasn't he? And after Hull getting rid of Radford, he's I know that he might have had his issues over there, but he's the type of forward that you would want in your team. He's a great forward. You've just got to match them. It sounds predictable, but you've just got to match the likes of him up front and make sure the rest of the pack dominates. Because otherwise he can start punching holes in your line. Essentially, apart from Percival, we're essentially not far off being full strength. No, James Bentley obviously out, but essentially last season's side. I expect a much better performance this week. And I think for all the fans who basically lost it last week and, well, went way over the top in my opinion, I think this will be the start this week of you'll see the proper Saints. What, for one week and 1 week only until it's all called off?
Yeah.
But that's it. Listen, they need to bring a performance. Now it's televised as well. They need to bring that performance. They need to bring the level up. Huddersfield did a good job on us last week, and you can't take that away from Huddersfield.
Yeah, did what they need to do.
Yeah, and that's it. We've just got to look out because Castleford are a dangerous team. They like playing rugby the right way. You get the feeling that Danny Richardson will be kind of looking to put one over on us as well. I know it's been in the press that it says no hard feelings to Saints, but he'll be going out to prove a point, and we've got to make sure, as I say, with that pack, they don't give him a platform to work off.
Hopefully somebody remembers his medal.
Yeah, hopefully so. Well, we did the same with Adam Swift, so it'd be nice to get a couple of pictures of him getting his medal.
Of course, because he was a part of that squad last season, and we shouldn't forget that. And he needs to be respected because he's striking up a really good partnership with Truman.
It's really exciting for the future, that one, for England, Great Britain, whatever representative kind of nation is there. You've got potentially a halfback partnership that could flourish for the next 10 years, 15 years there. So
it's
good. It's exciting times, and that's it. We were whinging, people were whinging about us getting beat by Huddersfield. But if you want a competitive league, you've got to throw in other teams.
It's got to be
coming away. It's
got to become the norm that you go to a game and the result is in doubt. And I think everybody claims that they want a competitive league, but then the dummies get spat massively when you lose a game.
Don't get me wrong. I've said it all along. I'd love it if it was like almost the NRL a couple of years ago. You could throw blankets over how many points separated, like the top 8 to top 10. I'd love that. I still want Saints to finish top of the league and not get beaten all year, but then I'm a realist about it.
Obviously, you look at it. Salford beat Wigan last night, it shows that results should be in doubt. So I think I looked at there's the media tipping competition, and 85 people out of 85 backed Wigan to win last night. Nobody saw the Salford win coming, and it did. Same last week. Nobody would have expected Warrington to beat Castleford at home.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
So that's it.
Anything
but
can happen.
It's true. I'm backcasting that one.
I don't get me wrong. I think I've been on record numerous times saying I still think we'll win this league by double figures points wise when it comes down to it. But it will be close and it will be tighter. But you look at it, you can potentially lose 7 or 8 games and still finish top 2.
Yeah.
Easy if you look back over the previous years.
Yeah, that's right.
Other news this week, we were linked with Gary Wheeler to come back in. And some of the reaction to that was like mind-blowing. People thinking he's coming in to replace Mark Percival in the centres.
I genuinely thought with some of the reaction to it that he had walked into Saints, demanded a marquee contract, that he was going to play 7, kick all the goals, kick to touch. He was going to tell us.
Doesn't need a sponsor card because
but it was demanding. He was coming in with all these demands. You know, when you think, actually, take yourself back and have a little think about how he would come in. I mean, you said you could see him coming into the reserves, like a Paul Crook, and kind of helping the development of the likes of
on a really cheap deal. He lives local. I think he's got business interests outside the game which he's developed, and if it happens, I think it'll be on a cheap deal. He'll help the reserves. He'll be a stock player for the reserves, along the likes of Paul Crook, who are really good for young players' development because they've played it tough. They've played
he's
low grade, and Gary Wheeler's played Super League.
Yeah.
And essentially, if it ever came down to it in a squad salary cap game, and we're down to our 4th, 5th choice centre, Gary Wheeler could step in for a game, and wouldn't let you down.
That's it. As you say, that the reaction was, I don't know, it was mind-boggling.
It's like people were trying to imagine things to have a go at the club. What I think we said in recent years, Saints fans will always find a reason to not go to the game. It used to be at Knowsley Road when we had a spectacular side. There's no roof over our heads when we go for a wee, or there's a queue at the burger van.
They're probably the same people who miss Knowsley Road and don't like.
Oh yeah, and then we went to Langtree, and then it was I'm not going because there's no cladding.
Yeah.
Or I'm not going because it's
no atmosphere.
Stuff
that builds and builds and builds.
Yeah, I don't like not standing down the side. Yeah. I'm not going because of Nathan Brown. I'm not going because of Kieran Cunningham. I'm not going just because I'm not going. I'm not going because it's not entertaining. And then what it was, now we're champions, we're the best team in the league, and now I'm not going because we might sign Gary Wheeler to play for the reserves.
As you say, even if he came in as a first team squad player, he wouldn't be playing every week.
He'll play if he deserves to play.
But yeah, that's it. And if he's the best option at left centre, if we needed him for between 3 and 10 games this year to play in various positions, you know what? It's a salary cap sport. You can't go out and sign somebody like Harry Newman from Leeds, who's just signed a new contract, I think. He'll be on decent money. You're not going to turn around and say, oh, you know what, we need someone for 3 or 4 weeks to play left centre, then he can go and sit on the bench. It doesn't work like that.
I think I seen somebody say to us after last week that, oh, we should have strengthened the back line during the off-season. Strengthened it how? Replacing who? On what money? I think I'd like it to be a lot like the NFL, where players' contracts and salaries are announced on how long they are, so everybody knows. Because I think people think players play for buttons sometimes. I think if you should get the salary cap, list how much everyone's paid, and people go, well, hang on, that's how much we've got. We've got £30,000, £20,000 left on the salary cap. So they're aware that you're not going to go and sign Conrad Harrell to back up Mark Percival when he's injured for a couple of weeks.
I think people already play fancy rugby. But you're right with the case of people just think you can go out and sign someone. Adam Swift, Danny Richardson's wages won't have been like 200 grand a year. There'll be people who've been on a good wage.
And people think your kids are going to play for nothing forever as well, and not want upgrades when they play well.
That's where their money will have gone on upgrades. Yeah. I think we signed there was a couple who signed really like long contracts. Lomax was one, Wellesby was another. As Matty Lee signed one, we'll be, I'd imagine, looking at putting more contracts in front of Morgan Knowles if we haven't already. All these aren't just going to turn around and say, you know what, I'll take 10 grand less a season. They're going to want a little bit of an upgrade because, I think as we said about Morgan Knowles, he's the best 13 in the competition.
You look at other clubs' models, don't you? So you got your lower side, you will have a couple of massive marquee players, and then dross. We essentially try and go good across the board.
Yeah.
And you hope that players will sign for maybe a couple of grand less than they'd go elsewhere because they wanted to be a winning club and they want a chance of winning pots. But what that means is we've essentially probably got 19, 20 players on really good money, and then you've got to look at versatility in players as well. So the likes of James Bentley will be on good money, but he can cover numerous positions. You can't have a backup for every position.
Yeah.
But there we go. That's that. Right, tomorrow, what do you expect?
I expect improved Saints performance. I think Castle still be tricky. I don't know what I've done. I think I've done Saints by 8.
I think I've done similar. Hopefully, we'll get over the line. Don't think we've got much else to say, have we?
Apart from it's a 3:30 kickoff, not 3 o'clock like I thought.
Yeah.
So if you are watching it on telly or whatever, just bear that in mind. It's the old East Yorkshire kickoff time of 3:30.
We will catch you tomorrow for an instant fan reaction from the jungle. Just keep your distance from us.
I wish I'd been able to do that to you for the past couple of years.
Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. See you tomorrow.